The following video might contain some elements that might not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discussion is advised. Does anyone remember the show The Magic School Bus? It was a children's show, a cartoon show in the 90s where a crazy science teacher would take students on weekly adventures into places such as into space or through the human digestive system. What most people don't know about the show was that it was meant to fit into a line of horror stories for kids before the kinds of spoilers horrifically out of control and most likely terrified test audiences. Originally planned by PBS, it was designed by Melnitsa Animation Studio in Russia and produced. The original pilot episode was periodically animated in Russia before being chopped at the 5-minute mark to be a kids series. In the original episode, the adopting school children were brought into a school bus, which originally the bus had no eyes, that transformed into a spacecraft and brought them into space, where strange things began to happen. As such, the episode starts normally. The recut includes the original PBS episode 1, but the music is different, with a infinitely descending shepherd's tone replacing the happy intro. The title screen is merely black, with the words over what must be an English translation that says, "The Sad Bus." After some research, I found out it says, "I cannot breathe." I only saw the episode in recut through a friend in Russia who had VHS tape it and sent it to me with the explicit note that I do not share it due to legal disclosures. I'm guessing that the recut didn't include the bus's eyes, but I'm not sure whether it's layering or horror that two of the student characters, Carlos and Dorothy Ann, are there neither. I mean, they are there, but their eyes are missing, and no one mentions it. The bus also looks much more sinister because the front lights are normal, through still eye-like, and the girl of the bus just looks extremely sad, like it's in a constant frown. The voice work is also different, with a sense of sorrow in American actors' voices. In the PBS edition, Arnold's cousin Janet thinks that Miss Frizzle is born, so Arnold has a teacher that take them into space. In this episode, going to space is where things become very messed up. That's why the original episode is here. Instead, the bus transformed into a spaceship, kind of like one you see in a film like 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's no transition. It just becomes this. The walls are all white, and then there seem to be infinite corridors with steep drops from the outside. It looks like a Soviet space rocket, but larger. Arnold comments that this wasn't what he expected, and he wants to go home. Janet and Carlos also seem equally confused, but Janet is smiling. Miss Frizzle said that there is an override lock on the ship, and nobody can leave until it has reached its destination. "We are hurtling toward the sun." Miss Frizzle tells everyone that she can neither turn off the airlock and suffocate everyone. Turn off the airlock and suffocate everyone. Only drunkenly. Before saying that, she'll put in the manual override, but it'll take 6 months to reach Earth. She suggests that everyone go into status sleep. A cancerous sore has developed on Miss Frizzle's face, but nobody makes any mention of it. There's a problem. However, there are only 9 status beds and 11 people, including Miss Frizzle. Miss Frizzle told them that she'd be fine staying up for 6 months, but one of the students will have to stay up as well. Melody suggests they draw straws. They do so, and Arnold is determined to be the one who has to stay up. Now, up to this point, the episode is bafflingly strange. This is where the show says it to realms that I couldn't make up if I tried. Miss Frizzle tells Arnold that allegedly there were 30 students in the class, but 20 of them died. 30 students in the class, but 20 of them died. She tells Arnold she is going into the upper airlock where there is a separate bed, and she only told the students there were less beds because she didn't want them to face the idea that one person would be alone for 6 months. And the time frame for returning home isn't 6 months, but rather 2 years. She leaves and locks the door behind her from the outside. You can tell that time is progressing because Arnold is proceeding to grow more unkempt, nervous, and dirty. The 9 beds line in the walls, and there are porthole windows along with a control panel that is deactivated. The food that was left for him sits in one corner of the room. He tries to reach that, but there's only enough for what seems to be a month. He also has no means of a bathroom, so he urinates and defecates on the floor. After about 2 months have passed, and Arnold is looking noisily nervous and disheveled. He's extremely hungry, more so than he's ever been. Ralphie's catchphrase, "I think I'm gonna be sick," begins to play repeatedly over the music track. I think it was meant to reflect Arnold's mind, but then Miss Frizzle began to talk. You are hungry, aren't you? Arnold now realized that the predicament he faces, he won't survive 2 years in this environment. If he tries to kill himself by smashing a porthole window, he'll kill his other students. It didn't leave me enough food, Arnold screams. The voice begins to grow darker and more tinged and deeper. Oh, but Arnold, I did. The animation does a long, slow pan across the room with what looks like a stylization of a wide-angle lens, pointing out the beds, and then the voice changes. I'm your accessory nervous system. This is no hallucination, Arnold. I'm you. The weirdest and most convincing thing about the animation of the original episode is that Arnold looks very similar to Miss Frizzle. One would think they are related. They both have pale skin, orange hair, and represent nerds. Even their mannerism, aside from Miss Frizzle's greater achieved sense of confidence, have their similarities. The boys began to whisper, "Eat them." Arnold has attempted to analyze the space chart over this defunct control panel for some time, but only now, realizing that he was intentionally trapped here, did it make sense. The path wasn't leading to Earth. It was heading for a malformed black hole that had strangely appeared to the left of the moon. For whatever it means, the room was also becoming increasingly hot, so much so that Arnold has to take off all but his underwear. The unclean environment was forcing him to develop sores. As he kept on his side in the mat, for judiciously taking Carlos from the bed so he can sleep there at night, that was when he made the horrible realization that none of them were breathing. Miss Frizzle hasn't put them into status. She infused them. It was only after he had made this realization that a scalpel appeared near the door. Someone has opened it while he was sleeping and moved the bodies around. The words "Beret See Hope" are scrawled in English on the wall in marker. The increasing need to eat was more apparent now than ever. He looked at Phoebe. He secretly loathed her. This became all the more apparent as he took the scalpel and slowly cut into her belly. He was not at all hesitant now. This scene is the most disturbing because the angle never changes. His expression is always angry, with cartoon-stylized eyebrows. For an entire 60 seconds, he slices her open, eats her lungs and intestines, peels and eats her skin, then moves on to the face, slicing off eyebrows and the nose, leaving a shaped skeletal corpse as the camera time lapses. The animation is different here. It's more specific, more layered, and more medical looking. Now the cancer sores are visibly on Arnold's face as well. Next day, the scalpel is removed. For the next month or so, he picks on the remains of Phoebe. The next time lapse seems more messed up, because now Arnold seems to have begun to hit puberty. He has nibbled on the ears and fingers of every student except Janet, because it's his cousin. The scalpel appears again, this time with the words, a moral scorn written on the wall. Arnold talks to himself, frankly. What does that mean? What does that mean? Picks up the scalpel and decides who to eat next. He never liked Carlos neither. As he undresses Carlos and begins to slice into him, the student ID falls out of his pocket. He says, Carlos Raymond, a moral scorn, Carlos Raymond. It was an anagram, just as Beret See Hope was an anagram for Phoebe Tyresi's name. By now the episode is almost over, and the screen begins to flicker as Arnold starts to gasp for air. He knew. Arnold began to cry. The image gets very choppy at this point. Different shots are seen. In one, the school bus collides with the sun. In another, Arnold continues to eat the remaining students. In order, based on the anagram instructions, since it is time-lapse, you only see the bodies and the bones begin to pile up. He refuses to eat Janet, his cousin, before honestly slicing his neck with the scalpel and killing himself. The cancer sores envelop his corpse. The regrogade film begins to deteriorate before the Russian words appear. This directly translates to, whatever happened to Janet? There's nothing else. The ship enters the black hole, and there are no credits. Instead, we just hear Arnold profusely screaming that he can't breathe as a burning noise begins to envelop the black back layer track. It goes on for a full 3 minutes. I try figuring out what happened to Janet. The only real clue is, I suppose, in the animation itself. So that was the Magic School Bus last episode, and man, oh man, this is really messed up. Like, This is like basically you know the space episode, but a bit more R-rated. Like like goddamn that part with the frickin' Arnold just being acting like a cannibal by eating his own friends. Like oh my god, that's pretty effed up, you know. And yeah, which this creepypasta, it's really messed up in a good way, and just I think this is kind of an underrated last episode of creepypasta. And like, goddamn, I think barely any people just talk about how messed up this story is. Especially the cannibal part. Like, my god, this the offer of the story is just kind of get too crazy over that moment. So yeah. So anywho, I just hope you enjoyed this video and like and comment this video and subscribe for more content. So see you next Tuesday for another creepypasta hopefully. So see ya.